Hey there, it's CJ Willie, and it's Easter. What better way to celebrate Easter than opening up Magic the Gathering? In front of me I have a pre-release kit from Dragon's Maze. This goes all the way back to May of 2013. Dragon's Maze was the third set in the Return to Ravnica block. The block was pretty popular as it was the first time returning to Ravnica. Players were excited to see what Ravnica would yield the second time around. It was so successful that it led to a third return to Ravnica in 2019. Today I'm going to crack open this Dragon Maze pre-release and go through the packs, and at the very end show off what deck I would have built in the Sealed tournament. Enough talking, let's get to cracking some packs. The pre-release kits in Dragon's Maze contained 6 packs. There were 4 Dragon's Maze packs and 2 seeded packs that contained cards from both Gatecrash and Return to Ravnica. The seeded packs were based upon 2 guilds. For instance, the 2 guilds that I picked out for this pre-release were Azorius, white-blue, and Dimir, blue-black. For those that follow the channel, those are some of my 3 favorite colors in Magic. I'm going to crack open let's go with the Dragon's Maze packs first. Dragon's Maze isn't a very strong set, doesn't have very many valuable cards. Back in the day, there was really only one valuable card in the set, and that was Voice of Resurgence, a Mythic that climbed as high as $30 to $40 and saw a ton of tournament play. Nowadays, there isn't a card over $10 in value in this set. What I'm hoping for in these packs is Shocklands. Wizards inserted about 2 Shocklands per booster box in place of the Guild Gates. So in these 4 packs, maybe I'll get lucky and pull a Shockland. One thing that I didn't like in the set were the clue stones. It seemed like there were 3 to 4 clue stones in every booster pack. For 3 generic mana, you could tap them for one of the 2 colors represented. Azorius clue stone would tap for a white or a blue, or you could pay white, blue, tap it, sacrifice it, and draw a card. Hidden Strings, Ubal Sar Gatekeepers, Nivix Cyclops, Is It Cluestone, Punish the Enemy, Deputy of Acquittals, Gruul Cluestone, so as I mentioned already up to 3 Cluestones. Crypt Incursion is one of the very few commons in the set that has a little bit of value. Opal Lake Gatekeepers, first uncommon is Warped Physique. Unflinching Courage is a pretty decent uncommon in the set. Species Gorger, and the first rare is Render Silent. Does see a little bit of play, about $1.50 rare. Counter target spell, its controller can't cast spells this turn, so a combination of a counter spell and silence. And a Guild Gate, and a Night Token. Alright, I'll speed it up through the remaining packs instead of reading all of them. Let's go into the next Dragon's Maze pack. Right off the bat, get a Clue Stone. Probably end up with 12 to 14 Clue Stones. Viashino First Blade. It was a card that I played a little bit in a standard deck. Fuse cards returned. Protect and Serve, first uncommon. Maw of the Obsidat. War Leader's Helix. Not as good as Lightning Helix, but it is seeing a little bit of play. Breaking and Entering is the rare. Breaking is a sorcery for a blue and a black. Target player puts the top 8 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. It's a mill card, not bad. Entering, 6 mana, 4 generic, 1 black, 1 red sorcery. Put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gains haste until end of turn. A little expensive for Reanimate, but it does give it haste. Foil Rubble Belt Maca. I played this card a little bit in a Boros deck, mainly for the Blood Rush ability. Single red mana, gives an attacking creature +3/+3 until end of turn. Start off with another Clue Stone. First uncommon is Ascended Law Mage, Trostani's Summoner, Debt to the Deathless. I believe this uncommon is around $1. And Scion of Vitu-Ghazi, 5 mana, 3 generic, 2 white, 4/4 elemental. When Scion of Vitu-Ghazi enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, put a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying onto the battlefield, then populate. So using the Silencia Populate mechanic, for 5 mana, get 6/6 worth of stats over 3 bodies. And Orzhov Guildgate and a Centaur token. Alright, one more pack of Dragon's Maze, hoping for a Shockland in that Guildgate slot. Very small set, only had about 164 cards in it. So in the common slot, bound to see quite a few repeats. Weapon Surge is a card that I currently use in an aggressive red-green deck. First uncommon is Armed and Dangerous. Gruul War Chant. Profit and Loss. And Pontiff of Blight. 6 mana, 4 and 2 black, zombie cleric at 2/7, has Extort, so whenever I cast a spell, I can pay white or black. If I do, each opponent loses a life, and I gain that much life, and other creatures I control have Extort. We get a Shockland, nope, Guildgate, and a red-white soldier token. Seeded packs. I'll do the Dimir pack first. In the seeded pack, there is a chance to get a couple of rares. Whispering Madness, 4 mana, 2 generic, 1 blue, 1 black sorcery. Each player discards his or her hand and draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded this way. Has a cipher mechanic. You can put it onto a creature, almost like an enchantment aura, and when that creature deals combat damage, you can cast a copy of Whispering Madness without paying its mana cost. Uncommon Smog Elemental, Dinrova Horror, which has seen some play in cubes, and Commander, Sapphire Drake. This was a seeded Gatecrash pack. So Dragon Maze allowed in pre-release to play all 3 sets in the block, depending upon your pre-release kit, as this one has a pre-release seeded pack from Dimir and one from Return to Ravnica. Martial Law is the rare. 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 white, enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, detain target creature an opponent controls. So when I detain a creature until my next turn, that creature can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. Detain is a mechanic I really like, and I have a blue-white controlled deck built around the detain mechanic. Bizarre Crovid is first uncommon, Aqua Steed, and Fall of the Gavel round out the uncommons. Ethereal Armor, great common, probably one of the best commons out of the Return to Ravnica block. Okay, I will be right back with the deck tech on the deck I would have built with this sealed pool. Okay, I am back with my sealed deck. The good thing about Dragon's Maze was it provided enough guild gates and land support to where most of the time you could pull off 3 colors and sometimes a 4-color deck. For me, I was able to put together, I think, a pretty good 3-color deck. So it's white, blue, black, Esper based, if you will. Going through it pretty quickly, in the 2-drop spot, I have Concordia Pegasus. I like flyers in limited, especially sealed, because they can win you the game. I've got a couple of cool detain creatures like Azorius Arrestor. Deputy of Acquittals is great. Flashes in, saves one of my creatures. Tide Drinker, 2/1 life linker with Extort. Then in the air I've got a Windrake that's a 2/2. A Rakdos Drake that I can unleash and make a 2/3. Those are going to be kind of the key when I get to some of my spells on this side. Stealer of Secrets. I decided to include it because I like drawing cards, and if I can get combat damage through with it, I get a draw card. Keymaster Rogue, unblockable. Sneaky strong in this sort of a format, and I'll explain in a second why. Hussar Patrol, Flash Vigilance, 2/4. Surprise blocker, kind of holds down the fort till I can get to my bigger creatures. Ascended Law Mage, 3/2 flyer with Hexproof. That'll be key with some of the spells. Bizarre Crovid is a 2/5, sits on the ground, holds the fort. If I decide to attack with it, it gives another creature +0/+2, and I can untap that creature. Scion of Vitu-Ghazi, 5 mana, 4/4 body, puts out 2/1/1 white bird creature tokens with flying. That'll be pretty key. Dinrova Horror is a pretty fun card. You play it, you bounce one of your opponent's non-land permanents to their hand, and then they have to discard a card. Most of the time that may be their big bomb or a bigger threat later on, and it may be their only card in hand. Sapphire Drake, 6 mana, 4/4 flyer. Doesn't really have much applicability for its second ability, which any creature I have with a +1/+1 counter on it gains flying. That's not going to happen, but it's mainly there as a flyer. Smog Elemental, little overcosted, 6 mana, 3/3 flyer, but all my opponent's creatures with flying get -1/-1. That can help me win the battle in the air. And then Pontiff of Blight, for 6 mana, I got a 2/7 body that's just going to sit there, but it gives all my other creatures Extort. Later on in the game, it's a mana sink to where it can slowly chip away my opponent's life total and get me the victory. Now onto the spells. Martial Law, it allows me to detain a creature each of my upkeeps that my opponent controls, so that can help me get through damage. Render Silent, basic counter spell, keeps my opponent from playing any spells for the remainder of that turn. Ethereal Armor, just a solid include, no brainer. Even though I don't have many enchantments, giving a creature +1/+1 first strike and sealed is pretty strong. Now into the reason why I like to play flyers and the unblockable Keymaster Rogue. Hidden Strings and Paranoid Delusions have Cipher. Hidden Strings allow me to tap a creature and untap another creature. So I can tap down one of my opponent's creatures, untap one of my creatures. Then when I cipher it onto one of my flyers or creatures with evasion, each turn I'm tapping down a creature and untapping one of my creatures. Paranoid Delusions, my opponent has to mill the top 3 cards of their library. If I stick it onto a flyer or a creature with evasion, hopefully each turn not only am I dealing damage to my opponent, but I'm also making them mill cards. Warp Physique is removal. basically gives a creature plus X minus X equal to the number of cards in my hand, so it can be early removal. Avenging Arrow is removal as well. Destroys any creature that dealt damage during a turn. And finally, Totally Lost is a fun card to play. It's at instant speed, and I can put a non-land permanent my opponent controls on top of their library. So basically really sets them back a turn. And I was fortunate enough to get enough support with Guild Gates, having Orzhov, which is white-black, Azorius, which is white-blue, and Dimir, which is blue-black. In my deck, I would add a relatively even amount of plains, islands, and swamps to make not just a 40-card deck, but in Sealed, I like running a 41-card special. This was a great pre-release kit to open on Easter Sunday. This is the deck I would have put together at the Dragon's Maze pre-release sealed event. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please like, subscribe, and share. Tell me in the comment section what you think about my pre-release deck. Until next time when I'm back to crack some more Magic the Gathering.